Well, now recording on everything. All right, man. So what do you got on the docket for today?
I think a good topic for us would be accountability. What do you think about that topic?
Accountability? I'm all about it. Count me in. Account me in.
Account me in.
Yeah.
Because I think, you work with mostly athletes, and I think you've done some things that, when you're trying to educate your athletes to kind of hold them accountable to each other. In my world, kind of working with, everyday people, them coming to a coach is all about me holding them accountable. How I've learned to somewhat do that myself. And I think we all struggle with it to some degree, and I think it's a great topic.
I definitely agree with you. I can tell you some stuff that we did when I was an athlete for accountability, as well as what I have my athletes do now. And I think accountability really helps get more buy-in across the board, honestly, from the individual to the whole team. And when you know that you're being held accountable, you're going to want to try to do better. You're going to want to try to do more, especially if it's for your team and for, a greater good. We, for accountability, like at school, at Eastern, my coach had us do like big brother, little brother type thing, where the seniors would take one of the freshmen under their wing, and we'd be like their big brother, and they'd hold us accountable for, coach would hold us accountable for like making sure that they were doing well in school, like going to their classes, making sure they felt like included. They were doing, not only their schoolwork, but the work to get better in the off season. Whether it was like wall ball, getting extra reps shooting, footwork, defensive approaches, understanding the plays, stuff like that. And it honestly really brought us together, and it made the freshmen feel so much more a part of the team, and it gave all of us seniors a leadership role, whether or not we were captain. And it was honestly, it was awesome. Like, it really made, I think, our team feel more like a family. And, my little bro, he also played defense. I played defense. He played defense. And his name is also Nick. And our last name also starts with an S. There's a lot of commonalities between us. And we're actually still best friends to this day. And, I definitely have my coach to thank for that. It's we've really, actually become like big brother, little brother. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the things, one of the steps to accountability, I think it's super complicated, and getting there requires many different things from many different people. But I think one of the biggest things is just the environment you're in. I think that's like the number one, or not number one, but one of the best ways people can start holding themselves more accountable is just surrounding themselves like that with people, whether that's like putting them into that kind of atmosphere, or going and actively seeking that, or even just talking to people about what you really, really want. And if people, care about you, it sounds like you cared about your little bro, then they're going to want to see you do better, and they're going to want to kind of be that tough love and kind of, remind you of the things that you really, really want.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It takes that off-field, on-field relationship to a whole new level. And like the chemistry that we built off the field translated on the field. And I think that's one of the reasons why we were able to be so successful. And when you're being held accountable and you have that support system, you don't want to let them down just like they don't want to let you down. And, and it also kind of pushes you and each other to get better, to want to get better, to do more for your team, your teammates. and honestly, it just makes things more fun in that aspect.
Absolutely. I know, working with your college team and high school teams recently, I know you mentioned you like put them into like groups together, right? And I think that was one of your ways of kind of holding them accountable to each other, kind of creating that.
Mm-hmm. During the off season, we kind of carried this through the season as well. But we had, thank you. We put them in little groups within the team, and it was like little teams within the team, and whatever it is that we had them doing in their off season. So like, I put together their off season weight training, agility, plyometric conditioning, injury prevention, and nutrition plans, right? And they had to check in with me, every Monday and Thursday. They had to make sure like they were tracking what they were doing, and they got points or negative points based on what they did or didn't do. And we called this the opportunities checklist. And we would say opportunities gained in one column, opportunities lost. And if they, for instance, like if they went to class, that was 1 point under opportunities gained. If they got their lift in for that day, that was an opportunity gained. If they did their agility or their plyo or their injury prevention, making sure they're hitting their macros or getting their meals in, doing recovery protocols. Those were all opportunities gained. And on the flip side of that, we had opportunities lost, which were if they didn't go to class, because after all, you are a student athlete, you're a student first, and you have to be eligible in order to play, obviously. And making sure that they're going to class and staying eligible is obviously a top priority for any program, really. So that's, if they didn't go to class, if they skipped class, that was minus 2 points. So that's an opportunity they lost, and that negatively hurts their score and then their team score. If they didn't hit their meals, if they didn't do their lifts or their conditioning or the agility or pliers that they were supposed to do, those were all opportunities lost. And we would tally each individual and each group's points at the end of each week and like kind of track each team's progress. It would have like who was in first, second, third, etc. And we would have different cool little fun promotions for the team that was in first place and stuff like that to kind of try to push them to want to get better, to want to do more, and to want to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to for not only themselves, but for their teammates on their team that we had put them in.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that really speaks to like human like psychology. I think we're really like social people. So that's why I think environmental, factors are so big, because if you see people around you wanting to get better and doing things better, you're naturally going to kind of want to follow the crowd, want to also get better. So I think having that environment is so crucial. I love how you value different things in that environment. That way, kind of encourage people to do certain things to get better. And of course, if someone's lagging behind, they're going to let that person know. That's awesome.
It also helped us point out the individuals that were going above and beyond, and those that were trying to just like skate by, and they were no longer allowed to really hide within the group, because not only would we be able to see that from a point system value, but like their teammates within the team would be able to see, like, let's say there was 5 people on this team, and out of 4 of the 5 of them, they're busting their butt trying to do what they can to get the best points, and you got one person who's really behind, and then that's really bringing the whole team down, and it shows that just one person not doing what they're supposed to, and if they weren't being held accountable, they wouldn't necessarily want to change that. And we found that those that at first didn't really care, buy in, wanted to actually do more because there's what they thought was maybe a small or a non-impact was actually having an impact on their team, and it's kind of like they came to that realization, like, wow, I actually bring something to the table, or in this case, I'm not bringing something to the table, and it's being noticed, and I need to step up to do this for my team, to not let them down.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a nice catch.
What are some ways you feel like athletes or everyday people, like, how can they find that environment? You know, like those athletes are fortunate enough because you kind of created that for them. But I think some people aren't always fortunate enough to find that, or like to have that kind of thing created for them. You know, and this can be very broad, or it can be in the realm of, you know, getting better at your sport.
Tyler, that's a great question. That is a great question. If someone's not a part of a team, or part of a team that has this accountability structure kind of set in place, they can do a couple of things. Number one, if they are a part of the team, they can step up and implement this type of thing themselves. You know, even from an individual level, like, I'll have my athletes, a part of that accountability is like they have to check in with me every Monday and Thursday. They have to record their weights, record what they did or didn't do, and send it to me so that I know what they're doing and I can make adjustments accordingly. But I also have them, like, I'll have them send pictures of their meals, so I know, like, okay, look, I know this person's getting so many meals a day, and this is what their meals are looking. And I know when they don't send me pictures, they're either, one, not eating their meals, they're not hitting those meals, or two, they're probably eating something that coach is going to be like, maybe we change that meal. So it makes them a little bit more conscious and about, like, what they're eating, what they're putting on their plate, what they're doing. And I'll even have them send me or tag me in, like, their videos and stuff like that. And that's a fun way to do it. And I've seen that actually online, where people will, like, do, like, an accountability check-in on Instagram, and they'll, like, be at the gym or something, or on the field, and they'll be, like, you know, checking in, and, like, they'll tag their friends to see what their friends are doing. And then you know, like, who's kind of who's doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they'll either, like, tag them back in a post where they're at the gym or the field or doing whatever, getting reps in, or hitting their meals. And you know who's not if they're not, like, sharing your post or, like, tagging you back. Yeah. And that kind of helps that whole accountability thing, because now not only are you being directly called out on these platforms, it makes you feel a little bit more obligated maybe to respond and make sure you are on top of it. And it also, like, not only are you being accountable to the people that you're directly kind of connecting with or tagging, but now you're being held accountable to everyone. All of their followers and your followers now see it. So now it takes the accountability to a little bit of a higher level if you don't have, like, a team to do this kind of accountability thing with.
That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But, like, using social media as a platform, you know, there's people on there that are following you. Let them know what you're trying to do.
Exactly. And then, honestly, you never know who you're inspiring doing that. When I'm posting, like, workout videos or, like, food that I eat and stuff, I'll actually get people reaching out saying, like, oh, like, they might send me their meals or, like, what they did at the gym, and, like, just basically tell me, yo, I love watching your videos, you know, that got me motivated or inspired to, like, get back in it and get back on the grind. So you don't even know who you're motivating by doing that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, they would never know unless you put that out there, unless you know, took it upon yourself. That's a great idea. Like, whether or not you're in a team or not, most of us use social media. Let's use it productively. Kind of try to hold ourselves to what we really, really want.
100%. It's a great tool that can be utilized. Why not use it, right? Most of us are surfing IG or They're on, scrolling. Why not use that to our advantage and create more positivity, use it for more positive and inspiring, motivating things like that. This also keeps me accountable. This dog, this beast. She knows if I've been sitting too long. I know that because she'll bring her favorite toys to me and won't leave me alone unless we go out and get some fresh air, right? Yeah.
Trying to get better too.
Hey, absolutely. I don't blame her.
So I definitely think there's something to the environment and the socialness and people and kind of becoming more accountable. What do you think are some other core ingredients to becoming more accountable, kind of in your own life, or you've seen that athletes that have really excelled, how have they kind of taken it upon themselves?
Probably one of the most difficult things to do is acknowledge that you are skating by, or you're not doing what you should be doing, or you're not doing as much as you can be. If you can be honest with yourself and be like, wow, last year, sure, I might have done well, but could I have done better? Could I have gotten more reps in after practice? Or on our off days, could I have been doing something? Could I have been, going to the gym in the off season more? Could I have been more serious about my nutrition? Being honest with yourself and knowing how you've been kind of skating by and then wanting to make those changes, that is going to be honestly one of the biggest things to really shift you into that more of instead of being accountable with someone else, now you're being accountable with yourself. And that's honestly the hardest thing to do, because no one likes to admit that they were wrong or that they were skating by or just coasting. No one likes to admit that they weren't doing everything they should have been doing or working as hard as they know they could have, or maybe I took a few reps off. I knew I could have pushed myself, but I don't want to. It's hard to admit that to yourself. And honestly, I think if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I know I've done every single thing that I possibly could, day in and day out, and I am where I want to be today, that's awesome. But if you can't, what can I do differently today to make me better tomorrow? That's going to make me better than I was yesterday. That is going to go such a long way in an individual's life. Whatever sport they play, their position, their sport, their team, and then it's going to even take those around them to another level. Because now, once they start feeling that kind of excitement, that hunger, and that drive, that's contagious. And we implement this thing called, +1, where whatever you're doing, grab someone, take them with you. You're going to go to the gym, grab your teammate, take someone with you. Whatever it is, you're going to go hit the wall, grab a friend. You're going to go get some shots, grab someone, And actually, that's something I used to do all the time when I was at Eastern, and even honestly at Robert Morris. My buddy Kyle and I at Robert Morris, we would always hold each other accountable. Yo, when you getting out of class, let's go hit the gym. Sure, yeah, man, I'll be done at this time, and then we can go. We would always make sure we were taking each other to go get better. All right, let's go get some reps on the field. Let's go get some extra one-on-ones in. Let's go get some shooting in. We always held each other accountable, and we were always pushing each other to get better. We'd go to the gym, and we'd be doing a set, and we'd be like, 2 more reps. Whether our program is only 12 reps or whatever it might be, only 8 reps. We hit that 8 rep, and we're like, come on, I know you got more in there. We were pushing each other to want to do those.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I think self-awareness is a great start, because a lot of people just, they're going through the motions and they kind of don't even realize it too. just creating that awareness that you could be doing more is like a great start internally. And then I love that how you said like just grab someone, because sometimes to do the things to get better, it's not always convenient or fun. But if you grab somebody, you know, you have somebody else going through it with you, that makes it just so much better. You're creating that environment rather than, you know, being fortunate enough to have that in place. Like you're creating this environment by just simply saying, "Hey, let's go." You know, whatever you're gonna do, bring somebody along. Super awesome pointers there.
And honestly, when other people on your team start seeing that, like they want to get involved. When I was at Easton, and everybody knew, like I loved being in the gym. Everyone knew I loved training, and I would there's a gym off campus about a mile or so from my school, and it was open 24 hours during the week and stuff. And one of my friends, he worked the night shift there, and like I'd always he'd work from like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and I'd go stroll in there around like 9:15, 9:30, get a warm up in, and we would work out together and stuff. And then my teammates would see like the improvements and stuff that I was making, and they're like, "Stoop, can I come with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Next thing you know, it's me and someone else. 2 weeks later, it's me and 4 people. And then after that, I've got half the lacrosse team in this gym just taking it over completely. You know? And we would have so much fun in there. We'd go smash our workouts, then go grab food at one of the places in the shopping center. And then it made the environment and like working out so much more fun. Like I love working out. Some of them not so much. But when they were there, we were all there together. We had so much more fun doing it. They wanted to be there. And that says something about some of them that were not so invested in the training, but they ended up wanting to be there and wanting to get better, not just for themselves, but for us, for the team.
That's so amazing. Yeah, that's why I think that environment is so huge, because you see people that you know, your friends or whatever, family, whatever, they're going to do these things to get better, and you kind of feel almost like left out if you're not going to. And then you all of a sudden like this switch mentally, and now you want to be getting better. And I think that just kind of like feeds off of each other.
100%. It's that type of positive environment is very contagious. On the downside of that, negative environments can also be contagious, and it really takes both self-awareness and the ability to step up and be a leader to want to make those changes. You know, just because you might not be in the environment you want to be doesn't mean you can't change it, or you can't take small steps to make those changes. You know, whether it is just grabbing one other person to start and then grabbing someone else and then going from there, like that's all it takes is one small change, and it's kind of like a ripple effect from there. And it just more positivity starts spreading, more people want to get involved, more people want to change and get invested, and next thing you know, you've got the whole team on board.
So true. Whether or not like you're fortunate enough to have that kind of these systems in place by amazing coaches, like you can take small little steps, like one, being self-aware of what you're doing currently, and two, just simply taking one other person. These small steps kind of like build and build and build, and all of a sudden you created that environment now of just being the best you can be.
100%, man.
Some mental gains here.
Brains to gains, baby. So how about you with your clients? What do you notice that like works for them, or you know, how do you get them invested and stuff like that? How do you keep them wanting to come back? You know?
I think with like as a personal trainer training kind of like working professionals, like their psychology is a lot different than an athlete, because obviously athletes are kind of more internally driven. Like a lot of them just simply don't want to work out, and that's kind of like where your job is as their coach, trainer, whatever you want to call it. That's your job to kind of create that environment for them. But I think a lot of it is kind of getting them to make that mental switch of becoming like problem solvers almost. A lot of them will have really, really good excuses why they can't train twice a week like they said they would, but it's about like getting them to kind of showing them like almost like self-love and kind of like, tough love, and kind of like, well, how does that impact your ability to put yourself first and the goals that you wanted? And kind of once they realize that, wow, me not being able to come at this time where it's convenient doesn't mean that I still can't get my workout in earlier, for example. Then kind of solving their own problems psychologically kind of gets them to that stage of self-awareness, I would say. So yeah, it's just like, it's kind of similar to, athletes, but it's just like a different like point of view, I guess, for those people, and kind of on you to like kind of create that, just kind of like how you created that environment by grouping these athletes together. And I think that ecosystem of just you and that person, it's not as big as like a team, but that's still an ecosystem and an environment where you're holding them accountable. She agrees.
She's got a lot to say on the matter.
She's like, it's time to go get better.
Oh, yeah. No, that's really good insight.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get to that stage, like you said, where like these people that maybe weren't originally like wanting to get better, to get them to want to get better. Because once you've kind of gotten to that stage with people, they're almost like self-sufficient. And I think that's like the ultimate goal of being a coach, is like creating an individual who's like self-sufficient and solves their own issues with health and fitness, and kind of, to whatever degree that, they want to live up to that. But it definitely takes a lot of trial and error and understanding people. It's definitely something I still struggle with, but just continually moving forward and trying different things with people. I think you can get there with everybody. It just takes a different approach for every single person.
It does, and also it takes the skill of being able to communicate and understand that individual, to really work with them, to find ways to get them to want to be involved or want to get them invested,
Yep. I think I like to tell them that, whatever they're trying to get after in the gym, whether it's super ambitious or not at all, they just want to move more. Them simply telling the people around them kind of almost creates that environment, because then people are aware of it, and then they're going to start questioning, did you do the things? Did you go to the gym twice? How's your training going with Tyler, or whatever it might be? And I think that's a great way for everyday people to just simply start talking about it to people around you. Kind of like you mentioned, I hadn't even thought of it, but use your social platforms and talk about it on there. Even if you don't have people immediately around you, I think there's always some way to kind of create this environment. Just people got to be self-aware and kind of want to create that environment.
That's a great point. No, telling other people what you're doing, what your goals are. for a number of reasons why that's important. Because when you speak that, you hear yourself say it, it kind of starts to become real. Kind of like if you write it down as well, you kind of start speaking it into existence, and the more people you tell, it's like you don't want to let them down. And you can't really slack off, because now you're starting to tell people, and they're starting to look for certain things, and they're starting to realize and hear what you're saying, what you're doing. And if you stop, they're going to start asking questions, right? And it kind of makes that person want to do it, want to keep up with it. Whether it's like, you know what, maybe it's like New Year's resolutions, right? Like, this year I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. You not only say or write down, you don't only say and write down your plan, but you tell someone. And then from there, maybe you tell a few people. And then from there, maybe you grab someone who might have a similar goal, and you try to do it together. So now you've got someone to actually become a part of your accountability system. And like you said, posting it online, like, just say, you can toss it on the story, make a post about it, whatever it is. It doesn't just have to go with working out. This can be any of your goals, any goal that you might have. But constantly sharing it, constantly talking about it, speaking it into existence. I'm a firm believer in that, and I definitely think that's an awesome way to really utilize your platforms and the people around you to kind of hold yourself accountable.
I love that. Yeah, there's so many parallels, like, between, whether you're an athlete or just everyday person trying to work out. I think there's very similar kind of themes in there, how to get yourself to live up to things that you want, you really, really want. Grabbing a friend doesn't just have to be an athlete. You can, if you're struggling to get to the gym every day after work, like, grab one of your coworkers, grab a family member, grab somebody, and all of a sudden you've kind of started to create that. And it builds on itself too, like you said. It's super awesome.
No, I definitely agree. It really is.